Geometric sequences. Geometric sequences are a lot like arithmetic sequences. Of course, their ratios are, geometric is dealing in a ratio and arithmetic is dealing in a difference. The other difference between the two is the formula that you use. In the arithmetic formula, you use that T1 plus the quantity n minus 1 times d. So in the arithmetic sequence, that's what you're using. In the geometric sequence, though, you're going to use a different formula. So we're dealing with a ratio, and the formula is different. But everything else is pretty much the same. The other thing is how you find a geometric mean is different. So it's going to look pretty similar to you, but it definitely has its differences. So geometric sequence, that says sequence, I abbreviate it. It has a constant ratio. Okay, constant ratio. Sorry for my bad writing, I forgot my S. The formula, and our formulas are in lovely shade of green, right? Our formula is this: Tn equals T1 times r to the n minus 1. So for a geometric sequence, this is what we're going to be dealing with right here. There's our formula. Everything's going to kind of hinge on that formula. All right, so let's play with the formula a little bit first, and then we'll go to finding the geometric mean, which is a little different, a little strange. And this is going to be a pretty quick lesson. So the first one is going to be an example of find a formula for the nth term. So this is an example. Okay, and it's what we're going to do is find a formula for the nth term. Okay, so the nth term. So they're wanting you to find just kind of a, a generic formula that's going to work for a specific ratio. Here's the sequence. Okay, so there's my sequence. And they just want me to find Tn, which is way easier than when they want me to find T17 or something like that. This one I really just have to plug in T1, R, and N, and I'm good. I don't have to do any fancy stuff. I don't have to solve. I don't have to simplify. I don't have to do anything. So we need to find T1, R, and N. Okay, T1. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to highlight him in green. Here he is, T1, 81. So T1 is 81. R equals, okay, now, what is R? Well, R is that ratio. Now, I have some kind of crazy numbers here. So I'm going to look, I'm going to bring that ratio, thinking about R, I'm just going to bring that up over here. So it's 54 over 81, and when I simplify that, that's going to simplify to 2/3. 36 over 54 is going to simplify to 2/3. So there's kind of my thought bubble. That's a ratio, and the ratio is the same there. It is constant, so it is geometric. Of course, I think I told you that in the beginning, that it was geometric. So R is 2/3. The other thing I need is N. Okay. But n, for this problem, they want me to find the nth term. So n is just going to equal n. Okay. I'm going to plug everything in and I'm done. These are really simple. Okay. So what I have is t, n, right? The nth term equals t1, which we figured out already is 81. We didn't even have to figure it out. It was sitting right there. It's 81 times r, which we know is 2/3. And we're going to raise that to the n minus 1. There's my n. I'm going to put it in teal. Sorry, I messed my color scheme up here. Well, guess what? That is the formula for the nth term. That's it. That's all I have to do. If they ask me for the nth term, that's the easiest one. You want me to find the nth term? Yeah, not a problem. Okay, you want me to find the 17th term? Oh, that's going to get a little tough, especially when I'm a fraction, I'm raising it to powers. Okay, so a lot of times when you're learning geometric sequences, they do ask you for the nth term, so don't be surprised. All right, well, what if they did ask me for a certain term? I'm not going to go to the 17th because that's crazy, but I will go to the 6th term, so find T6. Okay, for this one. All right, well, I'm just going to use this, and instead of n, I'm going to use 6, right? So T6, and that 6 becomes my n, right? T6 equals 81. A lot of times on these you're going to need your calculator, but I'm going to show you how to cheat your way, not cheat, I'm going to show you how to mathematically get through this one without a calculator. Alright, here we go, 81 to the 2/3 to the 6 minus 1. Alright, so I need to simplify that. I'm going to scoot this up just a smidge. There we go. So I need to simplify this. Well, look at this. This isn't so horrible. I'm going to show you how to do this one. I suppose you can use your calculator, but the 6th term is 81 to the 2/3 raised up to the 5th power. Well, look at this when you solve. Let me make sure I have enough room here. Watch this when you solve this one. 81, here, I'm going to switch this over, is times 2 to the 5th over 3 to the 5th. But 81 is 3 to the 4th, right? Three to the 4th times 2 to the 5th all over 3 to the 5th. Well, if I have 4 3's up here and 5 3's down here, I'm going to wipe those out, wipe that out, and that's going to go to 1. All of a sudden now I have 2 to the 5th over 3. 2 to the 5th over 3. 2 to the 5th I know is 32. And I just have a 3 on the bottom. I didn't have to do a lot of work because I thought about it for a second and thought, how can I make this a little bit easier? That's even easier than using your calculator, right? Alright, so sometimes that works pretty well. Okay, that's that type of problem. So if they ask you for the nth term, that's what you're doing. You're following this formula. Find T1, find R, n is n. If they ask you for a term, Remember, n is the 6, just like in the arithmetic sequences. And then you're just going to plug 6 in. And then you have to solve. I showed you a way mathematically to solve it easily so you didn't have to use a calculator. Okay, now I'm going to go to the geometric mean. So I'm going to switch over. I'm going to switch pages on you here. Geometric mean, it's different, but definitely doable. Let me get my paper all set. Alright. Whoa, that's crooked. There we go. Geometric means. Okay. So pay attention. This gets a little weird. Geometric mean. Let's say I want 3 geometric means between. So 3 geometric means between 1 and 16. Okay, so when we were doing that for the arithmetic, we said, okay, well, so we started with 1, so T1 is 1, and then you want me to put 3 geometric means between it, which means I would have T2, T3, T4. Okay, so there's my 3, and then I would have T5, and that's 16. Alright, so I have to find those 3 between 1 and 16. Well, this is all you have to do. And this works every time. I'm going to use this square root of my last term that I'm given over, so the bigger term I'm given over the smaller term I'm given. But not necessarily, I mean, this could have been 1, this could have been 16, okay, when we're going down by a fraction. So what I mean by that is the highest term number. So it's the highest term number over the lowest term number. Highest term number over the lowest term number. And here, this is going to be your sub, okay, minus the other. So now I'm going to use this number minus this. Okay. Trying to think of how to write that generically here. That is going to be I'm just going to write 5 minus 1 for lack of a better thing to tell you, because that's the only way I can kind of zero in on that. So what you're going to do here then is, here, what if I do it like this? I use color. Okay, so it's coming from the sub numbers. Term sub number. Alright, so after all of that is said, I'm going to end up with 5 minus 1, you got that pretty much, over 16 over 1. I don't know why I drew such a big bar, I just got carried away. Okay, 5 minus 1 is 4, so what I have is the 4th root of 16. Well, the 4th root of 16 is 2, which is my r. So now I'm just going to multiply by 2 every time, right? And I can get those other terms. So I'm going to multiply here by 2, here by 2, here by 2, and we'll check and make sure that that's multiplied by 2 also. So what we'll have is 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. Yeah, it works. So there are my 3 geometric means between 1 and 16. So what you're using in here is you're taking these green ones, you're using the biggest one first, so it's going to be the bigger sub number minus the other lower term number, and that's going to be in the V. Under here is your highest, which the highest one, highest term number, so T5, so it's going to be 16 over the lower one, which in this case was T1. Alright, 3 geometric means between those numbers. That's how you do those. Okay. How about this one? I'm going to give you a little practice here. Oops. I want you to insert two geometric means between, oops, forgot the E, sorry, it's not that it's bad spelling, it's that it's bad spelling, 2 and negative 128. Alright, so between 2 and negative 128. I want you to try this one. Let's see if you can do it. This whole piece is a little strange, so sometimes people struggle a little bit with that. Turn off your video and see if you can figure this out. See what you do. Okay, well, I always have this, I have T1 is 2, and then they want me to insert 2 geometric means, so that means I have T2 and T3, and then I can do T4, and T4 is that negative 128. So I have 2 terms between, that's 2 geometric means between 2 and 128, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to take my radical sign. I won't make it quite so large this time. I have 4 minus 1, okay, 4 minus 1, and I have negative 128 over 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. Negative 128 divided by 2 is negative 64. The third root of negative 64 is negative 4, and you know how to do that already, at least you should. Alright? So it's negative 4. So I'm just going to come back over here and go, okay, well, let's see. I mean, you can check it. You're going to know whether or not you have it right. I mean, you can just look on the last one. Start there. If in the last one you don't get to negative 128, then we messed up. Okay, so 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 4 is 32. And 32 times negative 4 is negative 128, so we have it right. So the geometric means between 2 and 128 is negative 8 and 32. Okay, that's geometric mean, and you're going to need that so that we can do the other problems. All right, a little trickier. Takes a little bit of practice, but that's okay. We've got time to practice. All right, we are going to change away from geometric mean. We're going to use it. Okay, we're going to do find the specified term. So here's an example. find the specified term. I think I need a new Sharpie. My Sharpie's getting dull. So this one's going to be given a sequence. Okay, so just like we did in arithmetic, I did both of them, but this one's given a sequence. And then the next one's, and the last one, yay, is going to be given two of the terms. So here is your sequence. And we want you to find T10. Okay, and the formula that we're going to use is Tn equals, I'm going to just make sure I write it right, I don't want to mess you all up. T1 times r to the n minus 1. And remember, that's our formula. That's what we're going to be using to solve this problem. And I think you guys probably realize that all you got to do is find T1, r, and n, right? So T1 is 3, because it's right there. I can see it. It's not even hiding. R, which is going to be the more difficult one, is just that ratio of -6 over 3. -6 over 3 is -2. And we need to check it. 12 over -6. Oh yeah, that's -2. Okay, so I know that r then is -2. Okay. And we also need n. And n, we want T10, so that's where that n comes from, is that number there. And I just have to plug it in, which, well, plugging it in, everything is easy. It's that solving it for the geometric ones that can get a little tough. So T10, right, I have T10 equals T1, which is right here in green, it's 3, times r, which is -2, to the n, which is 10, minus 1. Okay, so I filled it all in, and now I just have to figure this out. Now this is when the calculator is super duper handy. Of course I don't have one sitting here with me, so I get to just try to use my brain. -2 to the 10 minus 1 is 9, so I have -2 to the 9th, and so -2 to the 9th is -512. Did I know that off the top of my head? No. But I do have it written down, so you would use your calculator. So equals 3 times -512, or T10 equals -1536. But use your calculator for that, and you'll get it all figured out. Okay, and that's it. That's all I have to do. Find T1, R, and N. Plug it into that equation, and I am good to go. Okay, so as for steps, I don't really know that I need them, but one, find, you gotta find one of them. Sometimes you have to find R first, sometimes you have to find T1. So, I don't know. Find T1, R, and N. Number 2, plug into formula. Three, solve. There's my steps. Okay, we're going to do the last type. Yay, I am ready to do the last type. I'm sleepy tonight. Okay, so here's the last type. This is another example, and we're going to find specified terms giving two terms. Find I usually leave those out, but whatever, specified term using two given terms. Okay, so for instance, I have T3 equals 24 and T5 equals 2400. And they want you to find, in this one, they actually want you to find T1. Ooh, how am I going to do that? Well, the first thing in this, I mean, I know I'm having to find T1, so I must need to find R right off the bat. So to find R in this one, I'm going to have to use that geometric mean. Okay, so this is when we start doing those geometric means. So what I'm going to use is square root 2400. It's not a square root either. 2400 over 24. And I have 5 minus 3. Oh, maybe it is square root. Alright, 24's cancel out. So what I end up with is the square root of 100, which gives me 10. And that equals R. Okay, so there's R as 10. And then looking at this equation, pull this back down. Look at this equation. I have R is 10. I need N, and N is 1, right? Okay, N is 1. All right. But, you know, that's not going to help me because I need T1 and I have N is 1 and R is 10, but that's not going to help me find T1. I need to think about it a little bit more. I have T3. I know the value for T3. So if I use T3, I think I could find T1, right? I think I choose not to plug in this one. I choose to plug in this one. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about here. What I would have is T3 equals T1 times 10 to the 3 minus 1. But T3, and we did this in the arithmetic sequences, T3 is 24. So I'm going to substitute this in. I'm going to circle it here for you so you see. And you need to do these colors on your paper if you want to be able to see your notes clearly. Those two can be switched, and I'm going to switch them out. So 24 equals T1 times 10 squared, or 24 equals 100 times T1. Hopefully I'm not going out of the picture. I'm almost out of the picture. I'm going to have to lift my paper here. And I'm almost done. And then I'm going to divide by 100. And T1 is 0.24. Okay. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for T1. It's 0.24. So I found T1 through T3, which you can do. We did that in the arithmetic sequences where we had to plug it in. Okay, this geometric mean, using that saves you a ton of time. But you can't get past doing this. You have to be able to make that connection. All right. As far as, you know, what are we doing? Find R using geometric mean. And 2 on this one, find T1 by using one of the other terms. Okay, I could have used T5, I would have gotten the same thing. Down here, I could have used T5 here, and I would have gotten the same thing, right? Okay, very good. I will see you in class, and we will practice, practice, practice.